Fur. A very small word for a very big issue. And I got to thinking about this the other day when I read a news report about an Olympic skater that was being criticized for wearing fur on his outfit. And when we approach the subject of fur, we generally come across three different types of people. We have the anti-fur, pro-animal rights people who are very fanatical about it, and they stand on the platform that killing an animal for fashion is wrong. And to a degree, I definitely do agree with that. Then you have the other dynamic of people that are very pro fashion. They believe that, you know, it doesn't matter. The design, the art, the fashion, that's all that matters. And they come up with rationalizations as to how it's okay to kill and destroy life in order to make something look pretty. And to a degree, I understand that because of human nature and our basic vanity. I understand that. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I do understand it. And then you have the people in the middle ground who have to kind of question, you know, no, it's not okay to kill an animal for its fur. But every day we slip on a pair of shoes that's made from leather, or we wear a jacket that is leather. And how is that okay? What makes that okay and fur not okay? And that's kind of what I want to talk about. And that's kind of the opinions I want to gather. I'm a little stuck in that middle ground too, because where I don't agree with wearing fur, I don't have a problem wearing leather. And I'll tell you why. It's going to boil down to the kind of animal that these products come from. You talk about leather shoes, which a lot of the time is genuine leather, a lot of the time it's not. So you really got to look at that too. But genuine leather comes from cattle, okay? Cattle that is being butchered for food. I'm not a vegetarian. I eat meat. I cannot be a vegetarian. I'm incapable of it. I've tried it in the past and I just can't do it. So I'm not going to set myself up on, a high holy horse preaching that I'm better than anybody because I don't do this. But I do. I eat meat, I eat chicken, I eat beef, I love bison, I love I love seafood, I love all kinds of meat. I do. Then I consider how animals are being treated in these butcher shops. These mass commercial cattle farms, and I don't like that. So I do try very hard, and it is hard, to seek out the smaller farms that do treat their livestock well and let them roam free on pastures and eat grass instead of corn. And I try to buy my meat from these farms. It's not that easy because they're not as accessible as going to Walmart and buying, a 5-pound thing of beef for $13 from the commercial livestock farms. So it is a little more difficult. You do got to put in a little more effort, but if it's something you believe in, you do it, right? So the reason for this, for my opinion, is because of that. The cattle that I eat is already being killed. The leather that I wear comes from that cattle. Unfortunately, a lot of that leather probably does come from the commercialized cattle farms that don't treat their cattle very nicely. But then we talk about fur. What is fur coming from? You can have rabbit fur. And rabbits, some people eat those. But then we have fox fur. which I'm pretty sure nobody really sits down and says, you know what? Let's have a fox roast for dinner tonight. No, we don't. Mink. We don't eat mink either. So essentially what happens with that is the animal is destroyed, the skin is stripped off, and the carcass is disposed of, which is kind of a waste of that animal. And when you talk about leather, you have cattle that are being killed for food. And then the skin is used and tanned to make leather coats, leather sofas, leather shoes, leather, pretty much fucking leather everything. So it's going to boil down to whether you believe it's okay to wear the skin of something that's being destroyed for nourishment first, versus is it okay to wear the fur of something that's being destroyed for that sole purpose. And I mean, it's a very complex issue because you're going to get into the idea of how's the animal treated before they're killed. How are they killed? Are they skinned alive? Which there is a common belief that animals are being skinned alive. They're not. There's no reason for it, so nobody's going to do it. The animal is going to be destroyed first, and then they're skinned. If you can show me proof in America that there is somebody out there that is taking a live mink and slitting it open and skinning it while it's still living and breathing, I will be very impressed. But I want to know your opinions. Do you think it's okay to wear fur from an animal that just gets discarded? Versus, is it okay to wear leather from an animal that's being used as nourishment, first and foremost? Or is it not okay to do either? Do you disapprove of the eating of meat? Do you disapprove of the use of fur and leather or any products from animals in the first place? And if you're one of those kind of people, if you go to visit somebody that has a leather sofa, do you sit on it? I mean, where do you make your stand? Do you stand by your convictions? And where do you draw the line between what's right and what's wrong? If you stand up and say, I believe this is wrong, you can't wear fur. I believe this is wrong, you can't wear leather. You shouldn't eat meat. You shouldn't eat eggs or milk or anything that comes from an animal. Do you have leather seats in your car? If you're carpooling, do you sit on a seat that's leather? Where do you draw the line? Where do you make your stand? I'm kind of curious about that, on top of what your belief initially is about the fur, leather, food, animal rights topic. So leave your comments. Tell me what you think. I really want to talk about this.